But from there, you've got a different style of speaker, and we're going to pull this one out here. Gosh, these things really like to hold on to that as I scratch the heck out. Ken, why don't you tell them what this speaker is?
So that's going to be our separates, the CSS, or the separate set. That's going to be just the mid-woofer that he is holding there. So separate tweeter and woofer. We had the coax, where the tweeter and woofer together. This is going to be just the woofer, and it comes with...
Well, if you notice, there is no tweeter in the center. It's got, this is basically called a phase plug or a dust cap.
Yeah.
So this is called a component. So that means there's two components. Actually, technically, there's three components that go together. But any component speaker, they are actually separate. And see if Tim can zoom in on that. No magnets there, so I don't have to worry about it falling off.
Yeah, so that's going to be everything that comes in the box along with those mid-woofers.
So something you get with the components, you get the ability to mount the tweeter either flush mount, which you see right here. You get a little bit of an angle mount, which you see that's actually kind of spaced out at the bottom.
It is angled. It's hard to pick up there on the screen, but it has a little bit of
an angle to it.
You can dial in to
you can rotate that, kind of
need.
aim that tweeter wherever you want it. And the CSS speakers come with this little tweeter pod, which has got a flat mount on the bottom, so you can mount it on top of the dash, you can mount it to the door panel, to the A-pillar. If you don't want to cut a big hole, just need a hole big enough for the wire and a couple small little screws.
So obviously the other two mounts, the flush mount and the angled mount, they're going to require a decent sized hole be cut either in your door panel or your A-pillar or whatever it is, or if you're going to obviously custom fabricate something, you have to have a pretty large hole. The tweeter pod is really just the screw holes.
Yep. And on the coax, we talked about the crossover being in the post, you know, to keep it concealed and protected. With a component speaker, the crossover is a separate part. It's a separate component
Outboard
that you have
crossover.
to mount.
So what's a crossover do, John?
So crossover is kind of like a two-speed transmission. It takes the high and low frequencies and it divides them apart. So it sends only the high frequencies to the tweeter, and it sends the lower frequencies to the mid-range.
So the mid-range and the tweeter are both playing that frequency band that they play best, that they
exactly, because we all know that, you know, tweeter is a little small diaphragm, doesn't have a lot of travel. You apply, you know, 100 hertz, you know, or even 20 hertz, you know, 100 watts, that tweeter is going to get launched. So you got to block those. So that's what the crossover does. It basically steers the high and the lower frequencies to each of the driver that makes them work.